Dreamswap gets a lot funnier when you realize the cast is made up of police, people on the run from the police, and some pretty boy who does yoga and hits on the police. You are absolutely correct. Weird question. What are Randy, Bobby, and Hacker's relations with each other like? Are they just allies, friends, or what? Hacker's relationship to them is more obscure, because he's only been living with them for a few months. But Bobby and Randy have been living together for a couple years, and Randy actually cares for Bobby like his son. See, like Randy calls everyone son, because that's just what he does. But honestly, he probably introduces Bobby to people as his actual son even if he hasn't legally adopted him due to habitually hiding from authority figures. Why is the Creepypasta Squad being hunted by the JR? Because Randy, who came from part of an AU that JR wiped out, broke into JR by accident, and stole Bobby, who survived a murder cult, and was not supposed to leave somewhere along the way, and later Hacker, who was framed for murder, escaped from JR, and joined up with them. How did Randy find Bobby? He stole him from JR, don't worry about it. Wait, how does Randy accidentally break into JR, and surprise adopt a 16-year-old? Did he unintentionally intrude, saw Bobby, and said, son, you're adopted now? Randy got taken in because he got caught trespassing, and he had to run away because he was worried that JR would find out that he survived the destruction of the nightmare dimension he came from. At the same time, Junior had taken back a bunch of children from a cult that they'd wiped out, and Bobby was one of them. But they locked Bobby up because he wouldn't stop screaming and fighting them. Randy and Bobby bonded briefly before the two of them escaped together. It's a little more complicated than this, of course, but this is it in the simplest of terms. So Randy's only real crimes, according to the authorities, is only based on assumptions? He's totally innocent? Well, he came from a nightmare dimension where all of the inhabitants are born with a killing instinct that directs towards people who accidentally slip into it. Namely children, because only children can go there. There's some more detail to it, but I'll explain it later. So yeah, it's really horrible. He was also horribly abused and basically treated kind of as a slave because Eldritch Nightmare Dimension. But also he was inherently divergent from the normalized killing instinct and realized that he only wanted to help people, and that everything that was happening around him was really bad. So because he was really good at running and hiding already, thanks abuse, JR didn't find him when they came by to wipe out everyone in the dimension, and he was the only survivor. So Randy's only crimes were surviving a dimension supposed to be completely wiped out and helping Bobby escape from JR. Hacker was framed, and Bobby was part of a murder cult. That means the only severe crime committed here was Bobby being in cult that killed people. And even then we don't why he was there to begin with. Bobby didn't even kill anyone on behalf of the cult either. He was just born into it. Hell, the cult was literally about to kill him too for just being Bobby. I clicked the hacker tag. I don't regret it at all. Crying and laughter at a few of the things. I love your art and stuff so much, dude. I hope you'll love him even more once you find out that he worked at a 7-Eleven, hacked people's debit cards to make a living, and then started working at another one in a different universe after meeting Randy and Bobby, and continued to hack people's debit cards after not learning his lesson in the slightest. Ah yes, Hacker's story. He's mass and I love him synced. Man, he was just a normal dude who worked at 7-Eleven and then got abducted by a high-class gang for hacking into their highly guarded dark web database.
Vibros incoming.